Today's job is a campervan job again on my transit campervan. At the moment the van's just got solar power and 3 big leisure batteries, which is absolutely fine for the sort of spring and summer and all that sort of thing, going to festivals, all that kind of stuff, and you know, track days in the summer. But I've recently picked up some work doing instructing at these supercar school things, and some of that's going to be in sort of February, March, and parked up for 2, 3, 4 days. So that means the solar panels aren't going to keep enough power going. So I've decided it's time to fit a mains hookup to the camper. So I thought I'd do a little video doing that. It's beginning of November, as you can probably tell from the hat. It's a bit parky out here. I've got me cup of coffee ready to go, but I don't think I'm going to get this whole job done because, to be quite honest, it's going to get a bit cold. Even coffee's going cold quickly. Anyway, let's crack on. So I ordered a basic kit off of eBay. It wasn't quite the cheapest on eBay. I ordered from a caravan supply place that sells on eBay rather than some of the ones direct from China, which I was a bit nervous of. And it seems quite a good little kit. So you get the bit that goes on the outside of the van to plug your mains in. Obviously the cover for that. It's got a proper little fuses in mine with these trip switch things. A couple of sockets, little cable clips, and we've even got earth cable and cable for running it, and obviously cable coming in. So this all seems pretty straightforward. Good enough to even send a set of instructions with it. So that's the make. I'd say it seems quite a good little kit. Proper instructions there. So first thing's going to be is working out where to mount this on the outside. See, I've already run the cable through. I was a bit concerned about the weather protection on this gland, so I ran the cable through before, and I've put additional silicone sealant around just to make completely sure no water's going to get in there. So in the van, I'll just give you the sort of geography of it. So that's the side door. Underneath what's the sofa, but also turns into the bed. So this first sort of compartment is where all the electric stuff's hidden away. So the batteries are in there. These we call the zigzag unit, the inverter's in there. So basically the plan is, I also bought separately a battery charger. So none of these kits all seem to be designed so you can just have 240 plugs in your van. I couldn't find any kits that also included charging. So I bought a fairly basic charger that would do 8 amps, which I thought was probably plenty. The plan is to get it all mounted in there. The first thing I need to do is work out where I'm going to put this, because obviously I need to put a hole through the side of the van for the cable to run through. Behind the wall behind there is all heavily insulated, so I'm going to have a look to see if I can find somewhere that I can go straight through without having to deal with holes through insulation and stuff. So inside the van I've got this, so just in front of the seat and behind the sort of driving seat, this section here, which for reasons I can't quite remember now, I never bothered insulating, and as that's right by the batteries, that seems like a easy place to put the cable through. Looking from the outside, basically we've got this sort of panel here that kind of points us right to where that section is underneath this box section, but got a nice big hole there. You can see already where things have come through, so that seemed a good place to do it. If we're looking underneath the van, what we can actually do is probably mount it on the inside of the sill, under like that, So it's still fairly easy to get to. I might even put a little mark or something for when people hire the van, like a little label or something, you know. And that's nice and neat. It's out the way, and it's within centimetres of where I want to put the cable through the floor. So I reckon that's the way of doing this. So first thing, I'll go find, I've got those drill screw things, so I'll go find some of them. Yeah, so what I use is these little chaps. I call them drill screws. I don't know what the proper name is. If you know what the proper name is, drop it in a message, because then I can start calling things by the right name. So basically, they've got like a tiny little drill bit on the end, and then a screw, so you don't have to do a pilot hole or anything. It's quite handy for stuff like that, because you can just bang the screw through in the hole. Okay, I think that's happy enough. I've put a bit of sticker flex on the back as well, just to kind of belt and braces it on there. So now we've got a bit of cable. We've got to put it through this hole here into the floor. We're going to have to drill from the top down, because obviously I can't get my drill up through that hole. Just trying to work out, sort of navigate between the top and bottom. Sometimes I find tricky. In the past I've sort of tried using a measure and measuring, but because everything's double layered, you often measure from different places, which obviously is not a lot of good. So we've got this, I notice this bolt through the floor, so I'm going to look underneath. If I can see that coming out through the bottom, I kind of know where I am. Yeah, so looking in this box section, I reckon that must be the other end of that little screw bolt. So if I come back a few centimetres, I'm going to be through that panel, which I reckon is just about right. I can see daylight through the hole. Let's see where it is the other end. That hole's looking pretty good. Obviously what we're not going to do is run cable straight through a metal body, especially mains cable through a metal body, because if it wears through, which it would over time, and the live touches the body, the entire outside of the van is then live. We will have an earth on there, so that wouldn't actually happen, but anyway, it's always best to have a couple of layers of safety. So I need to drill a hole big enough to put a grommet through, so then the cable runs through that grommet, so it protects the cable from chafing through, and also gives a seal, so we're not going to get a cold draft coming in. We've got a nice big hole in there now, and a grommet ready to fit. It's probably not helping because it's pretty cold out here this morning that I'm having a bit of a job fitting the grommet. But obviously we've got a raw edge of metal there, so I'm going to just put a smear of this stuff around, the sealant around there, because it will help it go in, it will help seal the metal as well, so we don't get like a rust spot coming through. That's cable nicely through, it's a nice snug fit on there. So the next job to do is back underneath, is just securing the loose cable, which I use cable ties, but I'm not going to tie directly to the body. What I've done is I've cut, these are probably 2 centimeters, silicone hose, and I use these as standoffs so the cable's not touching the body anyway. So the cable's nice and away from the body. You can see a cable tie around there, that's standoff, so that's not going to rub anywhere. I'm driving along. Another one there through the hole. So basically that cable shouldn't touch the body. That's kind of stage 1 of the job done. The next thing I need to do is find somewhere to mount this. We go inside this cupboard here that I said is where all the electrical stuff is. We looks like it's going to mount nicely on the side there. Just got to check whether the cables come in top or bottom. to decide the height it goes. So instructions show the cables coming in the bottom. When I look at this unit, it looks like there's these little knockout panel things, top or bottom. So I think I'm going to put them in the bottom because I can then bring that cable in through the bottom where the others do, and that'll keep it neat. So I've got that box mounted up there kind of temporarily. I think I'm going to have to take it off to get all the cables and that in, but I think that would sit quite nicely there. I've got the wire, taken that back off to get on the bottom. Strip the wire back a bit. Now I just need to make sure I put these on the right place. So we've got the blue wire on that one, blue wire on that one, brown wire on that one, and then we've got an earth strip here. So that looks fairly straightforward. So just double check that. Got earth, earth, brown, brown, blue, blue. Okay, so that's done. So whilst this is off, so the sockets obviously go on this side. So whilst it's off, it's easier to connect them up. So I'll work out where to put those. On the other side of the bed is where I did have a little extension end hanging that ran off the inverter. So I think that's probably the ideal place to just mount that there. There's storage for the outside table, it's just there, but I think there's room there to get a plug in. And then the other one I'll put on the inside, because that would be primarily for running the charger, can stay plugged in. I did think about putting the charger directly in to the consumer box, but then it means that the charger, there's no way of switching the charger off. It would be on all the time, which is probably not a good idea. So all the wires connected up in there now. That one's run around, and I'll mount that on the side. This one cable is much shorter. I'm going to mount that on the inside there for the battery charger to go in. There's no clamp or anything on these, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll cable tie all these together, so at least if for any reason they do get pulled, they are kind of supporting each other. I am surprised there's not some kind of clamp in there, but before I do that, I need to run an earth as well. We have a separate earth which will go down to the van body. It's a sort of a belt and braces thing, so if any of these were to touch the van body, basically it shorts out rather than making everything go live. And that bolt in the floor that I spoke about earlier, that I used as a reference point for putting the cable hole through, looks absolutely ideal to be an earth. External earth on there. It's got a nice earth bar there. Double checked everything's tight, and then 3 cable ties on it, so that's keeping this all nice and tight together. And should anyone do anything really daft and pull the wires there, basically all of the wires would have to come out in one hit, so they're kind of supporting each other. Buttoned up the cover on there. That wire's loose at the moment, going across to a socket there, and our other 2 are loose going around the side. Got the earth nicely strapped down there, and the other socket there. So I'm going to have a dig around in the garage, because I think I've got one of those blue 3-pin connectors that I can then plug into the mains to plug it in and test everything's okay. And then assuming it is, I can then tidy up all these cables, make a nice final fit of it. Managed to dig out the old hookup lead from the garage. Am I going to be able to do this one-handed? No. No idea if you can see, so fingers crossed it's not an almighty bang. That bang was the clip. Okay, so that's that plugged in. No bangs or sparks or anything so far. Plug the fan heater in. Turn it on. Oh, got a red light. Whoa. nice warm air. That's brilliant, so it seems to be working okay. So let's just tidy this lot up and then that's job done. I reckon that's about 90% of the job done now. It's getting a bit cold out here now, my back's getting cold. And I'm off to a gig tonight to see like a Pink Floyd tribute band, so I don't want to be there with backache and all the aches and pains of a middle-aged man. So, got me end of day coffee. It's tidying up and I'll finish buttoning everything up another day. I've got other jobs I need to do out here, so should get done soon. Nearly forgot the YouTubey bit on the end then. Hopefully you'll find this video useful. It's a pretty straightforward job, I'd say, fitting this. To do the caveat stuff, I'm an electronic engineer. I am not an electrician and I am not an auto electrician. So basically anything I've done here is for hopefully useful DIY advice. It is not gospel. Make sure you know what you're doing. If you found this helpful, I'll be doing the odd other video on stuff on the Campervan. So best thing to do is like the video, subscribe. I don't know if I'm going to get this right. Subscribe and hit the bell button. I should catch you all later. Bye. Hi, thanks for getting to the end of the video. If you're not already subscribed, please do so now. Just hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell button, and that way YouTube will tell you when there's any new videos. We've got some big plans ahead for the channel, including possibly a car build from scratch. So if you want to get involved with that, now's the time to subscribe. Cheers then, bye.